Go.
Hey, what's up? It's a Blacksmith Circle vidcast. I'm Al, my co-host Andy over here. How are you, brother?
Hey, I'm doing all right. How's it going? Now you doing good?
I'm doing great, man. Wednesday night, April 24th. Since it's April, we're gonna talk about like a little April wine, Canadian rock, um,
Yeah.
and one of my favorite albums by them, Harder Faster. So which came out in '79. But we'll get into that when we get into April wine. But I want to ask you, Andy, man. I didn't get to ask you on the last show, but how was Steve Hackett, man? I know you went to go see him
Oh
live.
yes, Steve Hackett was just amazing, dude. He played so good. He started off with some tracks off his new album, and and my wife went with me, right?
Oh, cool.
And she's not the. I mean, she didn't even know who Steve Hackett was.
Yeah, she's
She
not a big prog rock woman,
no
probably.
no no. Molly's not a big prog rock fan,
Yeah,
but I told her, I was just playing with her. I said, well, maybe they're gonna play tonight from Genesis. She's all. I saw the playlist. There's nothing on there by Genesis that I know. I said, okay, cool. So, but he went into the first song, which was the way that his new album leads off, and he's just playing. And my wife just looked, just turns to me and goes, "Wow." I said, "Yeah, the dude can play."
yeah.
So she was amazed of how good he played, and she was all. I wish there was more vocals because he went through long guitar solos.
Instrumental
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But that was about the only thing because she's not a big instrumental person, but I was or
yeah,
am, and it was just a small little place, man. It was nice. It was just a floor and a balcony, and that's it.
yeah.
It was called at the Stafford Center here in Houston, and it's connected. I guess they have little shows there because I think it only fit like a little over 2,000,
Oh, okay.
and the top was almost empty. And I was in the top, so we were able to stand up and to move around and really enjoyed it. So Steve Hackett, I'm really glad I got to see him because I'm a big fan of Genesis, both eras. I like the Phil and the Peter, but the Peter one I like the most because of Hackett, because of his guitar playing.
Yeah,
So it was really cool, and they played all of Foxtrot because it was the 50th anniversary.
that's my favorite Genesis album too. I would have loved to have seen. And
Oh
he
yeah,
just and he played not down here not too long ago, and I couldn't go, man. I'm like, I kind of kick myself now, man, because I would have loved to have seen that.
but you've seen him before though, right?
I've seen him twice.
Okay.
So yeah,
Uh,
phenomenal, man. I mean, he's
oh yeah,
awesome. So
yeah. And my wife was all like, "And you said Phil would play the drums like that?" I said, "Yeah, because dude, Phil was a great drummer,
oh yeah,
especially during that
and that
time."
earlier, yeah, and that earlier Genesis. I mean, he was just all over the place, man.
Yeah, so that's what blew her away was learning more about Genesis of this era, which she's
Yeah,
not going to be a big fan about it, but she was really game, and she asked me questions, and I was more than happy to let her know more and more.
yeah,
Hey, Jamie Swartz, how's it going, man? Thanks for joining us again. He's always here every week.
yeah.
We
Jimmy,
love it.
man, what's up, brother? Yeah, I
So,
love Jimmy, man. He's a good dude, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen a lot of his posts, so he's a lot of fun. And then he went out and he came back and played an encore. He played some the Hogweed song off of off of Selling England from the Pound,
Yeah,
and then he also played something off of Trick of the Tail.
mm,
So he really did a really good job of doing that. But dude, you can tell all the hardcore fans there that were there to see Hackett. I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. I mean, just so
oh well,
excited every time he did something.
well.
You know?
Listen, out of all the people in Genesis, he's flying the flag of that old era because Peter doesn't do it anymore. I mean, Peter never really did it when he went solo. He kind of just left that stuff behind, man. I don't know. He's may have done one or two tracks here and there live, but I don't. He doesn't really like once Gabriel went solo, man. That was kind of it, man. He just that was a whole just kind of left it behind and went forward. I mean, and it's cool, dude. I mean, it's like Peter's always been like very forward thinking,
Yeah,
always about the now and not really like a nostalgic guy. But I mean, And I've never seen Peter Gabriel live, and that's on my bucket list. I'd love to see him. He's like one of the last guys. I mean, I've seen Genesis, I've seen Phil Solo, I've seen Steve Hackett. I'd love to see Peter Gabriel, at least once. That's on my bucket list. And but really, Steve Hackett, man, he's the one that's flying the flag of that progressive Genesis, man. I mean, when I saw Genesis in 2007, yeah, they played some things, Carpet Crawlers, and a couple tracks here and there. And it's funny, man, because seeing them when I saw them, like when they did the reunion in 2007, saw them in a big stadium, and it's just so, and it goes back to when we talk about like, how these bands like they tailor their set lists to really cater to like the mass audience that really just knows the radio things. Because when they would go into the real old Genesis, I mean, you looked around and just 90% of the people were just kind of like scratching their heads, like, what is this? Like, they don't really know, man. They don't know about the old stuff because it doesn't get played on the radio, and unless you grew up with it or you're just a diehard hardcore fan, you're not gonna. And when you go to a Steve Hackett concert, the diehards are there. Those are like diehard old school Genesis fans that want to see the prog Genesis. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you could tell, man.
Yeah. I mean, dude, they stuck out like a sore thumb.
Because he's not playing hits, man. He's not playing hits, dude. No. Really, So, yeah, but it's awesome that he's doing that. He's been flying that flag for quite a while now, and he seems to be doing very well with it. I mean, he seems. And listen, man, I love seeing like these guys in these intimate venues. To me, my favorite thing is seeing a nice little theater show. I'm so kind of over the whole arena and stadium. It just, unless you're in the first 10 rows or 15 rows, you just kind of lose the intimacy, man. And like these smaller shows, and the sound is better. It sounds phenomenal, like these guys playing this stuff,
Dude, the sound was amazing in there. You just heard every little note just perfect without reverb or being so far out where by the time it reaches you, it's lost its punch. It was just so perfect.
Yeah,
it was great.
So yeah, that's cool, man. This Friday, I'm actually going to see Heart and Cheap Trick.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's gonna be a great show, man. I can't wait to see that. Heart, I've seen it a few times. They always put on a great show. Cheap Trick, I've probably seen the most out of any band. I've probably seen them at least 50 times. Yeah. Just anytime they've ever come into the area, I've always kind of gone and caught them. They seem to be opening for them, and then they're opening for the following month. They're opening for like Def Leppard and Journey, so they're really kind of all over the place. I want to see Cheap Trick in another smaller, like kind of headlining intimate show again. So if they ever like do their own show, I want to see them again as well. But they'll probably get a solid hour opening for Heart, I'm sure. Yeah. But again, like when you only have an hour, they're gonna just play really like the hits and probably not hit any deep cuts. So, but I'm still looking forward to seeing them. So
yeah, Cheap Trick's not going to come here till October with Heart.
Oh, okay.
I guess they're going to jump on that other stadium tour during the summer.
Yeah,
with Heart, so they're not going to be here till October.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm going to go see Neil Young Wednesday.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's going to be Neil Young and Crazy Horse, and then I'm going to the record convention in Austin next weekend.
Nice,
so
nice.
So that's coming up. But we got some shows coming up in June. We're gonna. I'll talk about that when we get closer. But
okay.
To what's spending? You went to Record Store Day on Saturday there in Tampa.
I did, and picked up a couple things. I did do a little video on there on my channel with my daughter. I just started up a segment called Knowledge Nerds with Kayla. So we're gonna be doing a weekly show every week and kind of just nerd out on all sorts of different things, video games and movies and music, and we're gonna give each other homework assignments. Like I'll give her a band and an album that she's probably never heard, and this is your homework assignment. Listen to this, and we'll review it the following show. And she'll do the same with me. She'll probably make me watch like some sort of anime show or things like that, things that interest her, that maybe I don't know a lot about. So I think it's gonna be a cool segment. But I did base this first show off of what I got on Record Store Day just past Saturday. So
yeah, because y'all been talking about doing that for a while, so I'm glad you
Yeah, I've
guys
been
are on
shit, man. It's been like a year and a half at least, man. I
that.
finally got around to doing it. So, and honestly, part of it's laziness on my part. I never really pushed for it, but now I'm like, I want to do it. I want to do it when she's still like, I mean, she's gonna be 16, so she's getting older, man. I should have started doing this when she was like 10 or 11. It would have been kind
No,
of cool.
no, but I think that this is a better age because she's right there in the middle.
She's right in that sweet spot where she's really discovering things on her own and all sorts. She surprises me every day with like things that she asks me about. And do you know this song? Do you know this band? And you know, the biggest thing she surprised me of was she's like, Dad, have you ever heard of Cannibal Corpse? like
What?
I'm like, what? That's like an extreme like death metal, like, you know, it's not it's really not it's not like any sort of mainstream thing, but
Yeah.
she must have saw it somewhere, like I don't know, on TikTok or maybe on something, man. And she
Yeah.
was like, I like one of their songs. I'm like, do you even understand what he's saying? But yeah, I mean, it's
Like,
cool, man. I mean, I, I'm like now I'm starting to sound like my parents were to me when I was telling them about. It really is true. You kind of turn into your parents, man.
yeah, yeah. You're like trying to. Nah, you don't want to listen to that. Come on, Al.
I had to hide my Slayer albums when I was young, man, because my mom would have been like, "What is this satanic stuff? You gotta go to church." And
I think the covers alone, it was just.
oh yeah, I had to hide them, man, because if she saw them, forget it. She probably threw holy water at me or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's steam off of me or something, man. Anyway, I picked up Thin Lizzy, man, Live and Dangerous at Hammersmith, Odeon, November 16th, 1976. Now, this is part of the Live and Dangerous box set, the expanded set that they put out a while ago. But I think they only put it out on CD. So this makes its debut on vinyl. This is one of the shows that's on there. And I mean, this is from the reviews that I've been hearing about. I mean, they're really like kicking ass on this, and it's like really prime Lizzy. So there's the back of it there. It's a 2-album set, you know. So I can't wait to really kind of dig into this one, man. This is cool, man. This wasn't it wasn't a record store day exclusive. So I think after record store day, it's kind of a record store day. There's differences. The record store day first means it gets released on record store day first, and then it'll come out as a mass release like after that. So it doesn't say that's any sort of special like colored vinyl or anything, but I haven't opened it yet, so maybe it is. So I don't know. So that's one of them there.
So
Um,
that differs from their release of Live and Dangerous, correct?
Live and Dangerous, yeah, that's because I think Live and Dangerous is a conglomeration of like some different shows that.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, so I think the expanded box set of Live and Dangerous, I think all the shows that they used on the regular live album, I think they expanded them all to complete shows in the box set.
That's
So you get all the different nights that they made that live album from. So
okay.
yeah, so this is one of the nights that they pulled, I guess, some songs from. So the Doors always come out with something on Record Store Day, and I usually pick something up by them because I love the Doors. So this is from September 20th, 1968 in Stockholm. And this is a 3 LP set, so it's a long show, man, very long.
Yeah.
You see there, 3 LPs. And they do some different stuff on here, like some covers. Like they do Mac the Knife on here.
Wow.
I mean, there's some songs they cover on here, and it's probably like one of those shows that, like, you know, very, very. I mean, Jim was probably on. You know what I mean? Like he was very.
Yeah. Sounds like it would be.
And it's limited edition to 11,500 copies, and I got a pretty low number. My number is only 391. So 391 there out of 11,500 presses. So that's a pretty low number. So I got.
That's all they pressed. Okay.
Yeah, I like them when they're numbered because it's really. Now this is a Record Store Day exclusive, so it says on here. So when they sell this out, that's it. They won't put it out again, I guess. Yeah, I'm sure they will. But this is on translucent light blue vinyl. So They'll probably maybe put out a regular vinyl, black vinyl or something like that.
Yeah, but the Doors from '68, dude, that's prime shit right
That's
there.
prime Doors right there, man.
That is when they're all on all four cylinders, just cranking.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the Doors. So I got Ramones, the 1975 Sire demos. These are the demos that got them signed to Sire Records. So their first album came out in '76. So,
Okay.
and yeah, man, it's got like 53rd and Third. I Want to Be Your Boyfriend. Loudmouth. You Should Never Have Opened That Door. Just a bunch of different. I think stuff that never even maybe even ended up on an album. So it's kind of cool, man.
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
this is-
Man. You had showed that. That was cool.
yeah, and this is a Record Store Day exclusive as well. So I think these demos actually came out on their box set for their first album, but only on CD. Like because the box sets that they were releasing, it was a vinyl and CD kind of together. So the vinyl would be like the album itself, just a bare bones album, and then the CDs would have all the extra stuff. So I guess they wanted to thrust these demos onto vinyl. So I don't have the box set of the first album either, so it's kind of cool to have. So
Oh, yeah, that's awesome, especially for you because you're a big Ramones fan.
yeah, dude, I love them. I've loved them since I was in high school, man, and they really kind of got me into like punk rock. They were the first, really, that kind of, But I mean, they had that '60s kind of influence to them. That's why I love them so much, man, because you can hear kind of the Beatles influence or the girl groups, the Motown kind of, things like that, So that's why I love the Ramones, man. And then the Kiss one is the Eric Carr, Unfinished Business. Now it's cool, like if you run your hand across
Turned
the
on.
face, the eyes light up. So just one of the many cool gimmicks. Now this is last Record Store Day. He came out with a different album, and this has different songs on it than that one that came out Record Store Day last year.
Okay.
But this is really kind of like, I want to be honest, it's probably scraping the bottom of the barrel. But there's songs he does some covers on here too. I think he does Shandy by Kiss on here. All Hell's Breaking Loose.
So
let's
is
see.
he singing in them?
He's singing, man, because he's a great vocalist in his own right.
So like,
But it's got Eric Speaks to Fans. It's probably got like some interview clips on here, things like that.
Because he didn't sing any songs with Kiss. So are these just things that he had in the vault, and are they being released by Kiss or by his family or?
This is the Eric Carr, so this is just like, it's not really a Kiss album. It's just
It's not related to the Kiss family.
No, I believe in the '90s there was an album that Bruce Kulick helped finish. It was called Rockology. So it was songs that Eric wrote because he was a songwriter himself as well. And every once in a blue moon, like a songwriting credit would pop up on a Kiss album with him that he helped write. I really wish like Paul or Gene would have really taken him under their wing and really utilized him as a songwriter, because I think he was very talented. He didn't only play drums. I mean, he did play bass. He played guitar. He was a very multi-instrumentalist, and he had a great voice. And I really wish they would have utilized him more, but
yeah,
such is life, man. It's
kind
of sucks. But I guess this is stuff that like is in the vaults that maybe he wrote for the band and they rejected it or whatever. So it's finally like coming out, which is cool.
Cool though, especially for Kiss fans, because that's a big anomaly.
Yeah, so that's basically what I got. I did get a Taylor Swift one as well, her new album. I got that for my daughter, so she has that already. So and then
song off of that off her new album called Florida, but that's the only track I've heard so far.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Just a couple other things I want to spotlight. Dickie Betts passed away, so I've been spinning the Allman Brothers Beginnings, which is their first two albums. I got to see Dickie Betts live a couple of times, like with Great Southern. Never got to see him, unfortunately, with the Allman Brothers, but he was just great in his own right with Great Southern. He great band, and obviously he played a lot of Allman Brothers and stuff. So
Yes.
But yeah, man, and rest in peace to him. I mean, he lived to be 80, which actually surprised me. I mean, he lived kind of a pretty hard life, man.
Yeah.
For him to hit 80 was an accomplishment.
Amazing. Yeah.
So, and yeah, I've been spinning beginnings Allman Brothers Band. I mean, Allman Brothers Band is one of my favorite Southern rock bands, and I don't even consider them even Southern rock. I mean, they touch on so many genres, jazz and blues and all sorts of stuff. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I've got his album Atlanta's Burning over here.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. And then one more, man. Today's the 35th anniversary of the first Blue Murder album.
Oh.
I just kind of wanted to spotlight that. It's 35 years ago today that this was released. It's signed. I got this signed by Carmine Appice. When I met him, I'd love to get Tony Franklin and John Sykes' autograph on here. I think Tony Franklin's would be a lot easier. I've met Tony Franklin one time because he was playing with Kenny Wayne Shepherd, and I got to sit in on a sound check for Kenny Wayne Shepherd band. And they came out after the sound check and just kind of mingled with the couple of us fans that were lucky enough to check it out. And there's pictures of me with him and them on my Facebook. So, but I didn't have this album back then, so I would have got him sign this. But John Sykes, man, that'd be a different story. Trying to get him to sign it. I mean, he's just been in obscurity for like the past probably 15 years. So,
Oh wow, really?
yeah, he just hasn't done anything, man. Just kind of retired and dropped out of the music business. So, he has a whole when we had Butch Jones on our show, he was telling us that he's heard like some of his album or most of his album that's in the can. He's been sitting on an album for over 10 years that's been completed. So, and he's just not releasing it. So, I think he's very disillusioned with the music business. So,
well, yeah, you can see why. I mean,
yeah, it's just like there's no money to really be made anymore unless you go, and unless he has the bug to go out and tour, it's what is he gonna do, So
yeah, and tour, but he'll probably tour small places.
Yeah,
he'll probably spend more money traveling than he would make. I mean,
and he probably doesn't feel. Yeah, he probably doesn't feel like it's worth it, So,
yeah.
But that's my what's spinning, man. So what do you got, brother?
Yeah, what's spinning is something that I've been streaming because I haven't purchased it yet. I'm saving all my money for a record convention that I'm going to next week, so I'm just stacking up. But man, when I first was hearing this, I told myself you can wait till later on, so I will wait for later on. But the new Pearl Jam Dark Matters came out. And it's been a while since I really dug a Pearl Jam album. The last one was okay. I think people overreacted to it. Lightning Bolt was dreadful to sit through. So it's been a while. But
what was the last one? It was what was the name of the last one?
I forgot the name of it. The name was kind of weird, and it's the one where it's got like waterfalls on it. It's like
I don't even have it, man. To be honest with you, I kind of missed. I kind of didn't even get that last one, but I heard it wasn't bad. I mean, the songs I heard were okay.
It was okay. Yeah. It was an okay album, and I do have that one on vinyl.
Oh, okay.
But, I do have that one, but this last one, Dark Matters, that is produced by Andrew Watt. Andrew Watt's been doing so many great things with bands that he was a fan of, like of Ozzy and a bunch of different artists, and he did such a good job on this. And the band sounds great. They sound rejuvenated. Their songs are very immediate with guitar solos at the end. Eddie Vedder sounds great, and in fact, he produced Eddie Vedder's last solo album, Earthling.
Oh, okay.
Really good as well.
Mm.
And parts of Project have been produced by him because, like, Mike McCready has been playing on those Ozzy albums, and he also played on the what's the it's not coming to my mind right now. So they've been familiar with Andrew Watt. And it just seems that they finally put it together, and he did a Pearl Jam album with them, and Dark Matters, and it's so good. I love it. A lot of people have given up on Pearl Jam, and I can understand why. I really can. But I really hope that they come back to the fold and hear this album and give it a some listen because
I think the last album was Gigaton, right?
Gigaton, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
that's it.
Gigaton.
It
And
just
there's
came to
this
my mind.
big long title. It's like one word.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's Gigaton. And it was okay. Just that sometimes Pro Jam was took themselves a little bit too seriously for a rock band. If uh, if you know what I mean. So
yeah,
this album, you can hear great rock music. You can hear the fun that they're having, and they're just letting loose. Something that they haven't done in a long time because a lot of their later albums have been very meticulously done,
yeah.
and this is more of a great. They just have a really good sound to them, and it feels great.
All right, good, man.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. I was so excited and so surprised when I was streaming it. I was like, "Yes, this is what I've been waiting for a long, long time." Like for real, I understood No Code. I loved the No Code, but after that, when it went to like Riot Act and
Yeah,
and by by Nero and the whole
Backspacer.
yeah, it was just Backspacer was all right because
I
it
like
had
that one,
an
man.
immediate, really good punkish kind of sound to it.
Yeah,
But those other ones, it was just too much. And it's really nice to hear them having fun again. So
yeah.
Pearl Jam, Dark Matters, it is worth a listen.
Cool.
So that's what I've been spinning.
All right,
Every
man.
day I've been streaming it.
Yeah.
So what is on tap today, Al?
So today, man, since it's April, I came up with an idea. Yeah, let's. We were originally going to do a top 10 list, but then Andy was like, "Hey, we do top 10 lists all the time. Let's just kind of do something different. Maybe talk about the history of them." And I was like, "All right, well, let's do that, and then we'll spotlight an album by them, and we'll just talk about the album and stuff." And I picked the album Harder, Faster, which came out in 1979. And here's the cover of it there. And that's the back there showing the band. And this lineup had already been with them for a few years already. So Miles Goodwin on guitar and vocals, Steve Lang on bass, Gary Moffat on guitar, Brian Greenway on guitar and vocals, and then Jerry Mercer on drums. So by this time, they were very well into their 3 guitar attack. They were very much a 3 guitar band,
Wow.
which was great, man. I mean, Brian Greenway came into the band, I believe, in 1976, and as the 3rd guitarist, and he actually wrote some songs as well. So, and a really great vocalist in his own right. So, kind of cool. Like he would sing some songs on the albums and kind of trade off of Miles Goodwin, So, and gave the band like great harmonies and things like that, So, so to go through the history of April Wine a little bit, they were formed in 1969 by Miles Goodwin, and there was actually 2 brothers in the band and their cousin
And the
that
cover,
started
right?
out.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we got Jim Henman, David Henman, and Richie Henman. They were all in a band. So it was really the 3 of them and Miles Goodwin that started out on the first album. And so it was really kind of like a sibling kind of band in the
Yeah.
beginning. It was pretty funny, man. And then they came out with their first album in 71. Let's
That's
see
an odd
here.
album cover.
What's that?
That's an odd album cover.
Their first album?
Yeah, it was like a foot crushing on grapes making wine.
Yeah.
Okay. And it kind of looked like it was from like a Fleetwood Mac kind of early era Fleetwood Mac photo. And you know what?
Yeah.
Like that kind of color and texture.
Yeah.
album cover.
Yeah. But the first album came out in 71, and they actually had a single hit the charts, the top 40 in Canada, with Fast Train. So that was really kind of they kind of charted like right out the bat, with the first album. The thing about April Wine is they never really broke out big out of Canada. They were very big in their home country, but as far as breaking out into the rest of the world, they never really got over that hump. I mean, the closest they came was, in 80 or 81 with the Sign of the Gypsy Queen, which was on the album after Harder, Faster.
That was Nature of the Beast.
Nature of the Beast. That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you for, because I was forgetting. And you know what? I don't have that one on vinyl. I have this one and Power Play on vinyl.
Yeah,
So,
that Power Play I've got on cassette.
yeah. So, and a little history with me and April Wine was, my cousin when I was out of high school, I went to work at a pizzeria that my cousin owned, and he co-owned it with another guy that was married to a cousin of mine. So really, he was kind of a cousin by marriage. Excuse me. And he was Canadian. So whenever we worked and stuff, I mean, he was like only a couple years older than me. So we were kind of maybe like he was about 5 years older than me or whatever, 5-6 years. And we used to just play great music in the pizzeria, rock music and all sorts of stuff. And he would play a lot of Canadian rock, man, like stuff that I never really heard, like he like Max Webster and Triumph and April Wine. And it's kind of how April Wine really kind of got on my radar was because of him, and we would jam he always jammed this on Power Play, actually. So Enough Is Enough. Yeah, Enough Is Enough was the big hit off of here. And I remember we used to play this album. I was like, yeah. And I remember Enough Is Enough. I remember that video being shown on MTV like in the early days.
And they've got a Beatle cover on there that they also made a video out of. It's on the side 2, I think.
There's Doing It Right, Ain't Got Your Love, Blood Money, Tell Me Why, and Runners in the Night.
Yeah, Tell Me Why is the Beatle cover.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. It seems like they did covers. It seems like they would do a cover on because Sign of the Gypsy Queen is also a cover.
Oh, really? Actually. I didn't know that.
It's not an original, no.
Okay.
So anyway, after their first album, one of the bass playing brothers, or it might have been the cousin, left, and Jim Clench came in and played bass. But I think he only lasted maybe an album or two. And they came out with On Record, which was 1972, their second album. They did a cover version of a song by a group called Hot Chocolate, which You Could Have Been a Lady. And that record ended up being a commercial success, hitting number 2 in the Canadian charts. So really, they really were like forerunners in like Canadian rock band, because they predated Rush, man, by a few years, as far as having albums out and stuff. So, so then going into 1973, they get Jim Mercer on drums, replacing the two brothers left, actually. So, so then Jim Mercer came in, and also Gary Moffat. So really, it's the classic lineup started solidifying with the third and fourth albums and stuff. So, let's see, going through the history here. Then they come out with a few albums and stuff. Then by 1976, they actually open up for the Rolling Stones and the El Macambo Club. And that's a famous like live album by Rolling Stones, actually. They played in El Macambo, which is a small, tiny club, and they were it was like a surprise gig. And then April Wine actually opened up for that.
Oh, wow, that's a good spot for them.
Yeah, the Rolling Stones went under the title The Cockroaches. That was the name that they went under. But, word got out, and there was people outside trying to get in and everything, because, how big the Stones were, and are. And, right. But especially in the mid 70s, forget it, man. They were huge by that time, touring wise and everything, So, 1977, Brian Greenway comes in, becomes the third guitar player. So now they're a 5-piece with 3 guitars. Now they're really they get harder and harder rock and things like that, which is great. And it also allowed Miles Goodwin to kind of switch over to keyboards too for some songs, and while he sings and everything. So kind of expanded their sound a bit, Yeah. So yeah, man. So, leading up to this album, Harder, Faster, which is what's Harder, Faster? I think it's their 8th studio album. So this is their 8th studio album. So by the time this comes out, this is their 8th studio album. And 1979, this became became my favorite album by them. But admittedly, I don't really know a lot about like those early albums. And to me, there's a trilogy of albums I know. It's this one, Nature of the Beast, and Power Play, which is like if I'm going to recommend anybody to April Wine, I'll probably recommend those three albums first because that's kind of like their commercial peak, you know, and then go back and kind of deep dive, which I kind of been starting to do. I don't know a lot about those early albums, so I'm really kind of starting to go back. This would have been a perfect show for like somebody like Martin Popoff to be on. Could be in that he's Canadian and he probably knows a lot about these guys. Martin, I'm gonna get you on this show one day. Mark my words. I'm gonna get you on this show. You know, because I love his stuff. He's very knowledgeable with.
Oh, very.
You know, especially a lot of the Canadian rock and stuff like that. So I would have loved to have him on for this show, but maybe one day we'll do another history of April Wine or just any Canadian band. I'd love to have him on. So, but yeah, we're gonna talk about this album. We're gonna go track by track, and it has 8 tracks on here. And you want to start off, man, with the first track, or you want me to start off?
Well, I just wanted to say that I'm kind of new to April.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you go through your history there.
I did get to see them in 2018. They opened up. Well, they were playing in a festival, and they opened up for Wolfmother was the headliner. So they came on right before Wolfmother.
So you got to see them with Miles Goodwin too. So that's cool. Yeah.
But I really wasn't that into them at the time. It was at a brewery, and I was already there at noon. They came out at 8, so I can let you guess how I was feeling at that time. I remember Just You and Me came out, and I remember I was standing next to what's his name, Eddie Trunk.
Oh, okay.
Because Eddie was the host of it.
Okay.
And I get so nervous around like celebrities or whatever. So I wanted to talk to him, but I'm just like back and forth. He just kept on looking at me like, "What's wrong with this guy?" I just kept on going back and forth. But and this last time, this past October, my wife Molly and I, we went on vacation and we went to Georgia, and I went record shopping like I always do.
Oh,
and that's where I found Power Play on a cassette. So,
okay.
So that's like the only hard copy that I have of April Wine. But now that after I heard this album, because this was a really good album, and I will touch on that when we go through the album track by track, and also not only did I enjoy going track by track, I've also devised my own system of how to rank albums when I'm hearing them, like taking the number 5 as being great, and I'm adding them all and dividing them by the amount of tracks, and then I come up with a number. And I came up with a number. I said, "Well, yeah, that sounds about right." So I'm going to devise that into listening to albums and putting a number on them, like I did with this one. So I learned something new. Because of April Wine. So that's my very, very minor history with
man. At least you got to see them live. I never got to see them live, so it's cool, man. So now like that Miles, and Miles Goodwin, he passed away last December.
Yeah, he did.
So I don't know what the future of April Wine is. I think it still says that they're active. So I don't know. Brian Greenway is really the only guy left in the classic lineup. He did come out with a solo album in the 80s and 88. Yeah. And I remember that one because Alex Lifeson guested on that album. He played a guitar solo on one of the songs on that album. So Brian Greenway, he did have a solo album. I think it was only one solo album he had, 1 or 2. But mainly since he joined April Wine, and he's been a mainstay in that band. And Miles Goodwin really was the only one that played on every single album. From the beginning till up to his death last year, he's the only constant member of that band. So, but I think Brian Greenway seems to be kind of just slipped into that kind of leadership role now. If he's going to keep the band going, I don't know. Nowadays, with bands that have little to no original members left, it's kind of would expect it to kind of keep going, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's what they do now. I mean, just as long as they carry the name of the band, people are going to go.
Yeah, But Miles Goodwin was clearly he was the songwriter, the main songwriter, and the leader of that band. You know, he really was that the main force in that band. Um, so it'd be interesting to see what they do now. But yeah, again, like this album came out in '79. It was recorded at Le Studio in Morin Heights, Quebec. If any Rush fan knows, that's kind of where Rush recorded a lot of their classic albums, starting with Permanent Waves and Moving Pictures and Signals and Grace Under Pressure. They recorded a lot at that studio. They kind of consider that the Abbey Road of like Canada, you know, a very beautiful studio on the lakeside. Videos were filmed there of some of the Rush videos, some of these April Wine videos, like the first track, I Like to Rock. If you look at that video, it's filmed in the same studio where you see those classic Rush videos like Tom Sawyer, Limelight, where there's like a big open window and you can see outside to the lake and things like that. So it's really looked like a beautiful studio, man. It's since been demolished. It's gone. But there's a great documentary on YouTube that I gotta say, man, like these guys, these fans like put together and it's very in depth, man. They go through the whole history of the studio. So if anybody ever wants to check out the history of that studio, it's really great. Kind of almost, you know how Dave Grohl came out with the Sound City. Obviously, it's not on a budget like that. It's just kind of a very fan filmed kind of thing. But they go to the studio and they walk through it and they lay the groundwork of who's played there and who's recorded there and things like that. It's really cool, man. Check it out on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
it's a documentary on the studio. So that's where they recorded this album, which is the 8th studio album, like I said. This album did go gold in the U.S., so it's really kind of their first kind of commercial success in the United States was with this album, and it was produced by Miles Goodwin and Nick Blagona. I know like some of their earlier albums in the '70s, it was engineered by Terry Brown, who produced a lot of Rush albums. So that's cool. So like the first track on here, I Like to Rock. Probably one of my favorite. I mean, I love this song, man. This is one of my favorite songs by April Wine. I just love the opening kind of guitar, like chugging, you know, and it just kind of they just come in and it rocks, dude. Like just like the title says, I like to rock. This was the second single off of this album actually. So and to this day, it's been kind of April Wine's signature song. It's been the mainstay in their live set throughout their whole career since this song came out. So, and one of the fucking most awesome things is at the end, I just love the way they go into the Day Tripper riff and then the Satisfaction riff. If you're listening on headphones, you can hear like the Day Tripper riff on one side, the Satisfaction, and then the riff from the main song, and it all fits together, and so somehow it matches up. And could this be like the first kind of mashup in music? Who knows, man? You know,
I didn't catch the Day Tripper one. I caught the Satisfaction.
Yeah, at the end, right? go back and listen to it. So at the end, they go into the Day Tripper riff down, and then on the left, if you're hearing it on headphones, on the left, like on one channel, I don't know if it's the left or right ear. On one channel, you'll hear the Day Tripper riff. Then the Satisfaction riff comes in, and it's like, wow, dude! The way it just blends together perfectly. And then in the middle is the main riff for the song for this song. I Like to Rock. And for some reason, it all fits together. It's the same key. It's the same tempo. It blows my mind, man. I love the way they did that. So yeah, if you can check it out again, the end of the song. They go to and they just like jam on that, man, till the fade out of the song. So, you know, so that's track one, man. If you want to talk about it,
yeah. On track one, each track I ranked them between 1 and 5. 1 being bad and 5 being the best.
Yeah.
For I Like Rock, I did give it a 5. It's one of my favorites on the album. It's
a
great opener. I wrote here I dug the homage to the Stones at the end. At the end when they were throwing, I can't get no satisfaction. But now that you said, also that's led in by Day Tripper.
Yeah.
and now that you mention it, there was a weird sound there, like
Yeah,
towards the end before they got into that other riff.
yeah,
So that's what it was, of course.
yeah,
So yeah, dude, I gave that first track a solid 5. I thought it was a great opener. It was, you know, we've had a show on Black Spinner called Greatest Openers, and it's so important to start off an album with something that's going to grab your attention, and
yeah,
that really does.
yeah,
So number 2 track, go for it.
yeah. Number 2, man, which is "Say Hello." Um, I love the way it just opens up with a great groove on the drums, man. And just kind of a mid-tempo kind of just a cool, kind of almost laid back, but still has like kind of a little bit of mid-tempo. It's not a ballad or anything like that, but it's just kind of a cool,
Yeah,
not a real hard rocking song, but just kind of a cool, like I said, kind of a cool groove to it and great harmonies, kind of showing a little bit of a Beatles influence, like on this track with their harmonies, like him and Brian Greenway kind of singing together, man. I thought they had great harmonies together. I thought Miles Goodwin's voice was really, really good voice, man. Very pleasant to the ears, and he can belt it out when he wants, but it's just really very cool tone to his voice. I really like it. I've always loved that about April Wine. So that's the "Say Hello." Really cool, kind of a mid-tempo grooving track. Very, very great harmonies on it. That's what I like about it, man. So if you want to go ahead,
yeah,
Andy.
yeah. For say hello, I ranked it a 2.
Okay.
It started off with an odd rhythm. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like an odd Caribbean kind
Yeah.
of rhythm, and it was odd that.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. The Caribbean kind of, yeah. Okay.
But the guitar solo, and now I always thought it was Miles Goodwin, but now you're saying that there were 2 other guitars, so it didn't
Yeah.
have to be Miles Goodwin. It could have been
It
Ben.
could have been Brian Greenway or it could have been Gary Moffat because all three of them played lead guitar. You
Okay,
know,
so
so it was almost kind of a Leonard Skinner kind of like setup in a way.
yeah, with shorter songs with a more of an immediate punch to them.
Yeah.
So, but the guitar solo is what saved the whole track for me.
For you, okay.
Yeah, yeah, the guitar solo was good. I really didn't pay attention to the harmonies on that one because I guess like I said, I'm new to April Wine, so I wasn't really looking for the harmonies. I was paying more attention to their riffs and to their guitar solos, but they really did have really good songwriting on
Yeah.
there as well.
Yeah. All right, man. So going to the third track tonight. It's got a nice, very acoustic intro to it. Then it goes into like a cool, fast rocking kind of tune, man. Like real, and it's got a great dueling like guitar solos in it, man.
Yeah.
I love the dueling stuff that they do throughout the album. It's like you could tell they're kind of going back and forth, man. And I love when it just goes into like double time, goes really like fast, like tempo rocker, like into the second half of the song,
Yeah.
and then goes into those great guitar dueling solos, man. So I loved it. I like this track a lot too. It's really, really cool track.
Yeah, yeah, I really like this one too. But it's got a really good, solid mid-tempo rock song. Um, that the time signature changed. Going into the second verse, which, as you said, it picked up the pace like
Yeah,
almost immediately.
yeah,
It's like now that you're saying it's a triple guitar, it's like they handed off a baton to the other guitar player, and it picked up the pace from
yeah,
where it was. Another great guitar solo, and a very nice change all the way to the end. It just kept on pushing that song forward and forward. So I gave that track a 3,
yeah.
which is good,
Okay, cool, man.
which
Cool.
is a good ranking.
All right, well, ending off side one is Ladies Man. Another song I thought got a cool riff to it, man.
Love the riff, yeah.
Love the riff to it. And again, it's got like some scorching like dual guitar solos in it, man. I mean, just they go ape shit, man. I love it, man. I mean, just kind of almost like, dude, man, let's like it's almost like they're like looking at each other in the studio and they're just kind of playing off each other, man. I love that, man. And I can kind of see that, kind of picturing them in the studio with like the big open window looking outside, just kind of just jamming out, man. And I love it, dude.
Yeah,
Good way to end off side one.
yeah, I really like this track too. And just like you said, these songs are short,
Hmm.
but there's so much going on to them. When you think of dual lead guitars and switching off guitar solos, you're thinking, "Oh, okay, this must be a 6 or 7 minute track." But no, they're they're
It's
they're
to the
so
point.
immediately done.
Yeah. Yeah. It's to the point and it gets its point across and, doesn't dwell too much on like jamming or whatever like that.
Yeah, yeah. This whole album was a really good hard rocking album, a really good one. I gave it a 4
Okay,
for
cool.
a ladies man. Yeah, I
Yeah.
gave it a 4. Yeah.
All right, man. Opening up side two, we're gonna go Before the Dawn, which is cool. I like the this song was written by Brian Greenway, so this is his chance to shine on here. He wrote the song with, I think he co-wrote it with Miles actually, but he's the lead vocalist on this one, and I think and there's a video for this song too.
Okay.
So if you go, and again, it's in the studio track, where they recorded the album, and you can just tell it's a Brian Greenway track because he's singing on it. He's playing all the lead guitar on it. It's all him on this
Oh, wow.
track, and I love it, man. I think this is one of my favorite, probably my second or third favorite on the album. I really love this one. I love the way the second side opens up with this track, with the clean guitar, kind of arpeggiated opening guitar lines, and I like his vocals too. Brian's got he's got a good vocal style as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's my take on it, man. Before the Dawn.
Yeah, I gave this track a 5. I
Oh,
love this track. I love I like the way they began Lori, Laura, Laura, Laura.
Lorelei. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it reminds me of that Styx track.
Yes.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So that was really cool. It started off as a simple ballad, but then it turned into a good rocker. It just kept on building because it started off with that acoustic guitar and the singing of the Laura Lee, but then
Yeah.
it just kept building, and it really had a really good climax. So
It
yeah,
does have
I gave that track a 5.
it does have sort of like a little bit of a Sticks vibe to it.
Yeah,
You know,
it does.
if like Tommy Shaw, like a Tommy Shaw kind of track. You
Yeah.
know, and I love it, man. And it's funny, man. It's like rock, like there isn't rock like this anymore, man.
No, no, no.
It's just so like that era, man, of the late '70s, early '80s was such a great era of like bands like putting out some of their best material, man.
It's like
And even
everybody
though,
just sounds the same because everyone has the same producers now.
yeah, yeah,
It's just it's just the the imagination is gone. It
yeah,
really is.
and I kind of attribute it a bit to like I hate to say it because it is good in a like there are good points to it, but the whole um Pro Tools era, man, you know, where like you can just record a chorus or a line in a song, then they can just take it on a computer, cut and paste it, and put it everywhere in the song where it needs to be, and where it's going to sound the same. That's why there's so much like generic sameness to like
Yeah.
an album, like you can dial up your guitar sounds or your drum sounds or whatever, man, and I don't know, it just sounds so artificial to me, man. Like um, I can understand, it's easier to record on digital and to edit it and all that stuff, but I just for a band, it's so rare now. Like I guess a band goes into a same room together and just records live off the floor. I believe, like I believe, Black Crows still kind of do it that way, but they're one of the very few rare bands that have that kind of old school mentality. Now a lot of the bands, it's just, and I understand, like, recording the tape is tedious now, it's expensive probably, and all that stuff. And so analog is kind of,
Yeah, but it sounds so good.
it is, man.
It's so natural to hear a
It
band
does. It does.
playing in a room and pressing record, and you get to hear it.
Yeah,
it's it just sounds so great.
yeah.
And I
But
love
anyway, going back to Before the Dawn, great,
yeah,
great song. So we'll go to the next one, Babes in Arms. Another cool rockin' riff that starts the song off. Um, I think this is one of the more weaker ones for me on the album, though.
yeah,
If it was gonna fall, if I was gonna rank the songs, it would definitely probably fall in the lower half of the album.
definitely.
Um, it still doesn't mean it's a bad song though. I think there's no bad songs on this album. I just think it's just a little more lower for me. Still a good song though, man. So it's got a cool riff to it throughout. And again, this song kind of gives me a little bit of a Styx vibe to it. Almost kind of reminds me of Blue Collar Man a little bit. If you really like listen to it, you know, almost kind of reminds me a little bit of that song. So
Yeah,
anyway, that's my take on it. Babes in Arms, track 6.
yeah, yeah. I ranked this one a 3. It was kind of about the only track on here that sounded kind of generic.
Mm,
You know what I mean? When other songs really grab you, and you're like, man, that's
yeah,
something different, or that's something explosive right there. And
yeah,
this song didn't really have it, so I just put it was an okay track. Not
yeah,
much more. It was just what it is.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
But it really says something about an album when that's the only track that's like that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Again, man, I really don't think I don't even consider it a filler track. I think it's still a decent track. It's
yeah.
not a crappy track or anything like that. So I think this album is very strong. You
Oh, it
know,
is.
you know. Going to number 7, Better Do It Well. I like this song a lot, man. Cool opening riff, another great riff. I love the I love the lyrics in the song. Tramp of the
Tramp of the
neighborhood,
Neighborhood.
how bad looking, it feels so good. I knew the lady had something to tell. If you're gonna love me, better do it well. I love that lyric, man. So
And you know
really
what?
cool lyric.
And you know why you like that part? It reminded me of Kiss, of the way that they sang it.
There you go,
Tramp,
man.
tramp of the neighborhood. It
Yeah,
sounded like something that Kiss would do. It really,
yeah, yeah. And even the riff is like kind of Kiss like in
yeah,
a way.
yeah.
So yeah, man, definitely, man. I can definitely get down with that that kind of comparison. Yeah, I mean, this is just a fun track, man. Just really cool. Kind of, still staying strong towards the end of the album.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
definitely,
yeah.
definitely.
And then we get to the last one, man.
Yeah.
Fucking the cover of 21st Century Schizoid, man. Yeah, it's gorgeous,
Alive.
man. Yeah, dude. I love the way they covered this song. I mean, you could kind of sort of say it's a straight cover, but they really rocked it up, man, with the 3 guitar attack.
I
I
like it
mean,
better than the King Crimson. I do.
yeah. You like it better?
Oh yeah, I like this one better than the King Crimson
Yeah, yeah.
album.
I'm gonna
Because
agree with you on this one, man. And I do like the King Crimson version, but I remember this one, man. Hearing this one, I'm like, wow, man, this has got. They're just, I mean, and like when they're like again when they're doing like the guitar in the middle of the song, they're just jamming, and I mean they're rocking it up, man. They're really like going for it, man. You know.
and, and the difference is that April Wine keeps the song upbeat. Where
Yeah,
King Crimson, for a while there, you gets a little too much, too too technical or too serious. This really just kept a good rock vibe to it.
yeah.
That's why I liked it more.
But they still kept like some of the technical aspects of it, and
Oh yeah, they did.
it
Yeah,
just goes to show you that April Wine's like they're no slouches as musicians either. Like you could kind of call them, yeah, they're meat and potatoes, kind of straight ahead rock. But then during this song, they're like, hey man, we can do we can do the time changes good and all the different tempo changes and odd time signatures really well as well. So I mean, they were showing that they had the chops,
yeah.
as like great musicians, like almost kind of maybe they were kind of doing this cover to show their Canadian mates Rush that like, hey man, we could fucking be great musicians as well. Which is, hey man, listen man, they were great musicians too.
Yeah.
You know,
But
I
it took guts to take a King Crimson song
yes,
and their most famous one
yeah,
and,
yeah.
and to put it as a closer and to knock it out of the ballpark.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
and they did. I gave that a straight 5.
Yeah. I agree, man. I mean, I love this cover, man. You know, and so I mean, it's a short but sweet. I mean, like, listen, hey,
Yeah,
albums in the '70s and '80s, man, they were 35, 40 minutes to get the point across, man. And that's why these albums are. That's why these albums are awesome. They're
they're
mostly
classics.
all killer, no filler, man. You
Like,
know.
how did they're 50 minutes? You're like, dude, no way. It's like after 40 minutes, you're kind of dragging,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
or or you gotta hear an album halfway and then get back to it.
Yeah. You kind of have to
Well,
take a break to it, you know.
yeah, but
I mean, unless you're Yes or something like that, or but even sometimes Yes, man, I got in the middle of the album, I got to take a little bit of a break, man. you know.
yeah, but still, those albums were still just pushing 40 minutes. It's not like they were long,
Yeah,
long.
no, you're right, you're right. But I mean, Yes had 3 songs.
Well, there were 3 songs that lasted 40 minutes.
Mhm.
But
By the way, I'm having a little bit of wine on April Wine Day.
on April Wine.
But
But
yeah, man, I mean, so that ends off this album. So I think after this album would be Nature of the Beast. So that came out in '81. And that was really like the commercial kind of breakout in like the United States, because I remember Silent Gypsy Queen got a lot of airplay on rock radio here in the New York City area,
yeah,
and again, it's a cover song, not and it's one of those songs that would never know, you didn't know unless you really kind of read into it that it was a cover, but they kind
so
of made it
who
their
was
own.
the original?
Lawrence Hudd is the name of the artist, so I never heard of him
I've
before.
never heard of him either.
Yeah, so if anything, I never heard the original. So after this show, I'm curious to see what the original sounds like.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna pull it up and check it out. But I remember signing the Gypsy Queen, man. That was the song that got a lot of airplay and really kind of put April Wine on a map for me. Like as far as like hearing them, you
yeah,
know, like who is this band? And really and if really, I mean, if you're gonna go by the U.S., they're really kind of a one-hit wonder here. But again, they were huge in Canada, man. I mean, they had gold and platinum albums, for a long time, and they were one of the biggest bands coming out of there, in there. So again, in Europe and here, man, I mean, they were just kind of like they didn't really hit the big time, but
yeah.
nature. So I mean, again, going back to the beginning, to me, the trio of albums with Harder, Faster, Nature, the Beast, and Power Play, I think those are the trio of albums where they're at the commercial peak. I think people would, if they're want to dig into them, I think those are the 3 albums that they should kind of check out, and then maybe go backwards and check out their earlier stuff, you know, which is still hard rock too. I mean, there's some pretty hard rocking songs, man.
Yeah, like when you had said, "Well, let's do a top 10 of their songs." So I started right away, and on my Apple, I put April Wine Radio, and each time I liked a song, I would add it to a playlist, and then I went back to it. There were like so many off of Nature of the Beast.
Oh yeah, because
Wow. Okay.
that's the commercial to me. Like, if I was going to kind of compare, I would say that's like kind of like their moving pictures by like Rush, where it's like if it's going to be the one album in somebody's collection,
Yeah.
that's usually the album that they're going to have.
Right.
If they start and stop with a band, that's usually the one. So, so that's actually like that's actually the album that somebody who would be a casual fan would probably be the one that they have.
And some.
And then after that, Power Play, that's another good album too, man. I think they were getting very commercial on here though. On this one, still a good album though. I like the album cover on this one too. Power Play. So this one came out in '82, I think.
Yeah.
I
Hold on,
believe.
real quick. Hold on.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
I'll keep going.
Yeah, so Nature of the Beast '81. So yeah, I think let's see, I think Power Play was '82. But let me
Yeah, you see, I bought this used the cassette, and dude, I bought it for $1. Power Play.
Power Play, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
yeah. And I've seen Nature of the Beast so many times on vinyl. I just passed it up. I just passed it up. But now I'm definitely going to pick it up just because of this harder, faster album. I really enjoyed it, and in fact, I mean, this is a band that I would like to really get into because I know that I could buy that I could have had several of their stuff because I see it all the time.
And they're not, and they're I mean, they're pretty relatively cheap on vinyl. If you get,
Yeah,
and I mean, you could pick up like 3 or 4 April Wine albums probably for like $20, at least. You know, I know that this harder, faster one, I think I paid like maybe $3 or $4 for it, and it looks like it was a because it's got like a little cutout here. It looks like it was a promo copy. So, but it's very clean, man. Very the cover's like pristine, and this Power Play one I picked up very cheap too, like maybe $3. It still even has the cellophane on the original album.
oh wow.
Still
So,
has the plastic, so it's in mint condition, really. You know,
the name of the place is Le Studio Morin Heights.
Le Studio, yeah, correct,
Le Studio, okay,
yeah,
yeah, that's the insert. That's another thing too. You can stream all the music you want, but you can't read the liner
the
notes.
liner notes, man, yeah,
Where it was recorded, who played on it, that Miles Goodwin produced it with Mike Stone, and that Mercer, Lang, Greenway, Moffat, and Goodwin.
yeah,
Like you were saying, the
yeah,
classic lineup were on this as well, and it was mixed at Fantasy Studios in Berkeley, which we all know Fantasy Studios is where CCR did a lot of their stuff.
yeah,
Well,
and they've released quite a few albums like since Power Play and stuff,
yeah,
and
yeah,
the last album that they released was in 2006, so it's really going on almost 20 years, man, since they released an album, and which was called Roughly Speaking, and I think now reading up on this album, they said that they recorded this album in analog. So we were just talking about analog versus digital, and they
yeah.
recorded. I'm kind of curious to listen to this album. I'm gonna really kind of dive into like sample a bunch of their albums, even like later on, to see how they sounded towards
Yeah.
the end. So I want to check them out. But that's really like 2006 was really the last release they did. So I guess they just became a touring entity after that. Like so many bands did. So
Yeah, tonight when we're through here, I'm going to put baseball on mute and throw on power play.
yeah,
Uh, Thanks a lot for bringing this album to my attention.
yeah,
I really did enjoy it, and it made me a fan of April Wine. And I hope that everybody watching out there will do the same thing too. Now, I was talking about my new way of ranking an album. What I did was that there's 8 tracks, and 5 being the best ranking I would give a song. So I would take 8 times 5. So the highest ranking that this album could have got was 40. The
oh,
highest.
okay.
So this album got a 30 out of 40.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So that's somewhere like in the 3.5 stars out of 5.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So I really enjoyed it. It was really good. There were a couple of tracks that brought it down, like
yeah,
we talked about it, Babes in Arms.
yeah.
But other than that, man, this was a really good album.
Say hello too, and I think that you ranked that a little low as well.
Well, yeah,
The
yeah, I put
the
it
second
on
track, but other than that, yeah, man. I mean, it's a very strong album, so I recommend it to anyone who maybe is remotely interested, maybe into trying out April Wine. Check it out, man. Again, try those trio of albums, man.
Yeah,
And really, if those don't grab you, then I don't know what will. To
right,
be
yeah.
honest with you. So,
So
but but
the trio of albums was Faster, Harder,
Nature of the Beast
Aim for the Beast,
and
and
Power Play.
Power Play.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 that
Yep.
I'll recommend you to get into April Wine.
Yeah.
Awesome. You got
And
anything
then
more to add, brother?
yeah. Yeah, man. So I hope everybody enjoyed the show. And what do you got going on next week? I think you're taking off next week, Andy.
Yeah, next week I'll be in Austin enjoying Neil Young with Crazy Horse.
That's right, man.
So we'll be off next week, but the week after that, we are going to dive into Weezer, and we are going to break down their second album called Pinkerton, which was it's so funny because when it was released, Rolling Stone said it was the worst album of the '90s, and
It's since turned into
it's
a
turned
classic.
into to one of the greatest albums of the '90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost kind of yeah, man. I remember that album getting panned when it came
Bad,
out
bad.
because it was
Yeah.
nothing like their debut album,
No,
you
no,
know.
no.
And it's I almost kind of attribute it to when Beastie Boys came out with Paul's Boutique, the complete 180 from License to Ill. Nobody knew what to make of it. It was like it bombed commercially, you know, and it's since become like the one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time.
Yeah.
And Weezer, they kind of credit almost like Pinkerton as kind of starting the whole kind of emo movement, right?
Yep.
I
Exactly.
think and I'm not particularly an emo kind of guy, but
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Same here.
I think Pinkerton's a great album though. Like in hindsight, I think time has been very kind to that album. So
Very kind.
it'll be
And
very, and I
also,
haven't listened to it in a long time, so it'd be kind of cool to kind of dig back into the album and check it out. So I haven't heard it in years.
yeah.
So
And it's kind of a concept album actually. They take the concept of the play Madame Butterfly,
oh, okay,
and they incorporate that into the album. And in fact, I should have it right here now that I'm sitting this way for this episode. I remember when it came out, it was like in '94,
yeah,
'95,
95, I
and
believe.
when it came out, the internet was so new that we had some buddies in college. We loved this album so much that we had the album didn't come with any lyrics to it. So a buddy of ours in college printed it off of the internet. And this is how well, you printed off a computer? We're like, what?
Yeah,
Because we
wow,
never heard
yeah,
it. And it was on that old type of computer paper. Do you know what I mean? With
the dot matrix. Yeah,
yes, it was long.
yeah,
And we would be smoking and just passing it around the lyrics and hearing this album.
that's
So this
funny,
album is very special to me.
man. Okay, yeah,
So,
man. I'm looking forward to digging back into it because I haven't heard it in years. So
yeah,
yeah, it'd be
in
cool,
fact, I
man.
probably play it several times. This is actually in my top 20 of all time. In my
Really?
top 20, yeah,
Wow.
it is. All
That's
right,
that's high praise, man.
it is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why I wanted to dig into this because I've
Yeah,
never had a chance to really talk about it.
yeah.
You know, now. So it's a very
All right,
important album for me, and I want to share it with everybody.
all right.
So in 2 weeks, we are going to do Pinkerton by Weezer, about the same way we did April Wine.
Okay.
So
All right.
so
Cool.
I really hope that everybody enjoyed the a different format from us. So
Yeah.
take it away, Al.
All right, man. So that's the show for tonight. If you want, man, Andy and myself, we're going to be on BS sessions tomorrow night. We're going to do our top 11 songs about night or night in the title. And Mark Olin Taylor, he invited me kind of late to the party, so I'm whipping up a list kind of quickly. But I like working under pressure anyway, so I'm sure my list will be stellar as usual.
Yeah, yeah. I need to trim mine from 25 down to 11. I really do.
Anyway, join us tomorrow, man. I think he goes on at what was he doing at 8 or something? Well, it's not going to be live. It's not live anyway, but
No, it's not live, but it'll be on YouTube, and it will
pretty
be
much right after. Yeah.
yeah, and we will share it on the Black Spinner page, and we'll also share it on the Be Cool or Be Podcast
Yeah.
Facebook page as well.
And then join me Sunday, and as me and my daughter Kayla will do another episode of Knowledge Nerds. I don't know what we're gonna do. I'm just kind of firestorming what we're gonna do, but I'm gonna pick out an album for her to listen to that I'm sure she's never heard before as a homework assignment for her. So it's gonna be interesting. I'm kind of wondering what she's gonna like. I wonder what she's gonna do for me. So anyway, that's our show for tonight. Thank you guys for joining us. Andy, love you, brother. And enjoy your Neil Young show. And
oh yeah, I will send out the playlist and all that stuff, and I will talk about it.
And I'm going to be seeing Heart and Cheap Trick this Friday, so I'll have a review on that. And then enjoy yourselves, everybody, man. Cheers. Thanks for joining us tonight. Have a great night. Andy, take care, brother.
You too, Al. Take care.
Have a good night. Cheers.
Bye.